After using the iPhone 12 for the past few months, I would gladly choose it over the iPhone 13 and iPhone 14. This is probably the best iPhone to buy for an average consumer. Now, what would you say is the most important feature in a phone when it's a couple of years old? I would say it's the battery life. And I'm really happy to report that this phone does more than well enough in this area. Now on paper, a 2815 mAh battery doesn't sound much, especially by today's standards. But in real life, it does a much better job. This is a combination of the 60Hz display and the A14 Bionic chip. On most days, the iPhone 12 has easily lasted me a full day with medium usage. For example, here I charged it to 100% in the morning and ended the day with around 25% left with a whopping 5 hours of screen on time. The usage mostly consisted of social media apps and a few video calls on WhatsApp. Now this is a normal use scenario for me. If I had used the camera a little or Google Maps or perhaps a 20-minute session of gaming, then I might have had to charge the phone sometime late evening. But in my book, 5 hours of screen on time is a solid number. And when I do need to charge this phone, I can do it pretty fast with this Anker 24-watt charging brick that I have. There's MagSafe as well, but I've still not been able to get into wireless charging. I know as a tech reviewer I probably need to, and someday I will. Maybe you can subscribe to the channel and motivate me in the comments. Another thing that holds up really well is the design. It has these squared off edges which help with the grip. The frame is made of aluminum and is color matched. One aspect that I really enjoy while using this phone is its lightweight feeling. I feel phones recently have gotten bulkier by the year. The one thing that I don't like is the glossy back, as this makes the phone a fingerprint magnet and very tough to clean for these videos. I do mostly use this phone without a case, hence my gripe about the back glass. But it does actually help with the grip. Frosted back phones tend to be more slippery. Anyways, this should hardly be an issue for people who use a case on their phones. The buttons on the phone are also clicky and offer great feedback. The same is true for the haptics of this phone. Overall, even after 3 years of release, this phone still looks nice and holds its own among other phones. On the front, we have a 6.1-inch 60Hz display, which is still decent by today's iPhone standards. The most important aspect of a display, according to me, is its brightness, and I'm happy to report that this phone has a respectable brightness, which translates to good visibility on sunny Canadian days. A feature, well, not necessarily a feature, I love is the flat panel. I still applaud Apple for sticking to a flat panel, and I will keep doing so until they don't. And all these display specs combine to form a pleasing experience of using this phone. The display looks nice from all angles, it's good for viewing HDR content as well as gaming. Since the iPhone 15 and 16 will be 60Hz with minor differences, I think the iPhone 12 will hold up just fine in the coming years. And if you are planning to keep this phone for the next few years, one thing I would highly suggest is getting a higher storage variant. The phone I have has 64 gigs of storage, which honestly feels a little low. This is also because of the fact that I'm coming from a 128 gig iPhone 13 Pro. So if you are planning on getting this phone or any other iPhone for that matter, try getting the higher storage version. I am happy Apple realized this and started offering base 128 gig storage on latter iPhones. Then there's iOS. I don't think we have to talk much about software. iOS is, well, iOS, but it's always the latest and greatest iOS. This 3-year-old iPhone is running the latest software and running it kinda smoothly. On the update front, I have no doubt the iPhone 12 will get iOS 17, 18, and even 19. Now that's a lot of updates. Moving to performance. Though the iPhone I have is relatively new and it's supposed to run smoothly, I did manage to get my hands on an iPhone 12 that my friend bought when it was released in 2020. And as you can see, it is still running smoothly with apps opening relatively fast. Weirdly enough, on my newer iPhone, I have seen a few rare dips in performance. I'm not sure if I can replicate it for this video, but I guess you'll have to take my word on that. Some of these dips include the app opening very slowly, the keyboard taking its sweet time to appear, the screen freezing or scrolling very slowly. Now to be honest, these dips are not as frequent as you might think, but I still wanted to point these out. Also, this phone tends to get warm or hot quite easily, especially outside in the sun. This one time the phone got hot on a cloudyish day, and oddly enough the phone's brightness kept fluctuating to a low level. It happened only once, but might happen again or could happen if you live in rather hotter climates. Other than that, basic phone functions such as call quality, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth have never given me any issues. Nonetheless, I have no doubts that the iPhone 12 will hold pretty well 2 to 3 years down the road. The final but most important aspect of this phone are the cameras. The phone features 3 12-megapixel cameras, 2 on the back and 1 on the front. In good lighting, the cameras take amazing shots with good color accuracy, dynamic range, and sharpness. I do slightly miss the versatility of a telephoto lens, but that's still the case for the non-Pro iPhones. Other than that, the photos coming out of this camera system are pleasing to the eyes. Portrait shots are also good and produce good quality background depth. Unlike recent iPhones, there is no special camera feature on this iPhone, so no photo or cinematic modes. I'm not a huge selfie guy, but the few selfies I took for this review turned out to be pretty good. Where the iPhone 12 does show its age is when there isn't ample lighting. That's when photos tend to fall apart. The shots become grainy and don't have enough sharpness retained. As someone who rarely takes that many photos in low lighting, I'm actually fine with this, but you might want to look out in case you take a lot of low lighting shots. Video quality, as expected, is good. It can shoot 4K 60 with all cameras, which is a plus. I have shot a few of my B-roll shots for other videos using this iPhone, and I've always been pleased with the results. Overall, for a 3-year-old camera system, I'm more than pleased with the output. And that brings me to why I still think the iPhone 12 is the best non-Pro iPhone to buy. The phone has a great design, good enough display, good enough battery life, latest software with buttery smooth performance, and more than good cameras for most people. And you can get this iPhone used for a lower price tag as well. I really got lucky and got mine brand new for $400 Canadian. The iPhone 13 and 14 aren't that different from this phone as well. While those phones offer slightly better specs, you could get the iPhone 12, save some dollars, and maybe get AirPods with that money. And that's it for this video, guys. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll catch you guys in the next one.